Good morning. Please find your seats and prepare for this morning service. To those of you here with us in the sanctuary, please be advised that this service is being streamed on YouTube. To those of you watching this stream service, we're glad to have you watching, but would, of course, rather have you here with us in person. Also, let me remind you that we have a pre- and post-service Zoom event, which also runs the YouTube stream of the service. Now, please make sure you read the announcements in your printed order of service. Also, and especially, be sure to read the weekly events that are emailed to you each Thursday, and as well as the unigram and the website. I urge you to keep our website, your website, open as a tab on your internet browser so you can keep up with what's happening. Now, please practice social distancing and mask wearing per board-approved guidelines. Please do not take chances. We don't want to lose you or your loved ones. Also, individuals or families may donate flowers for each service. Now, please read information how to contribute in your order of service. Now, the flowers today, this Sunday, were donated by Jessica Cross, and grateful thanks to Linda and Richard McLeod for their tireless work on behalf of this congregation. And now let us center ourselves for today's service and remember to silence all electronic devices as we listen to the prelude.
Good morning and happy Hanukkah. Our prelude music is a Hebrew folk song called Mi Yamalel. You'll hear this performed featuring Dr. Alexander Coleus on clarinet. He was one of our Bill Moody guest performers last year.
Now, please stand and join me in the congregational covenant as found in your order of service. Love is the doctrine of this congregation. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve others in community. Thus do we covenant with one another. Please be seated. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Columbia. My name is John Starino, and I am your service leader for the day. Our minister is the Reverend Stephen Robinson, and on those Sundays when Stephen is not in the pulpit, we present a variety of qualified and interesting speakers from this congregation or from recognized guests from the wider community. Unitarian Universalism is a diverse and non-creedal religion, which means that we don't have to believe the same in order to treat each other with respect, equity, compassion, and dignity. Our community is based on deeds, not creeds. As Unitarian Universalists, we side with love, embracing all people regardless of age, color, race, socioeconomic status, physical ability, or religious background. We are a welcoming congregation, which means we also embrace LGBTQ individuals. We encourage everyone to wear name tags so that we may know each other better. Board members wear green name tags, and they always welcome your comments, questions, and suggestions. Will the members of our Board of Trustees please stand now so they may be recognized? Thank you. At this time, we would like to recognize any guests or visitors who are with us today. If you are willing and able, please rise and share with us your name and where you are from. And if you have guests with you, please feel free to introduce them. Now, Richard McLeod will pass the microphone along for those of you, so please wait for him.
I'm Jessica Humes, and I'm from Lexington.
Welcome.
Hello. My name's Sadie, and I'm actually from Nebraska. Moved here 2 years ago.
Travis Chrisman, I'm from Lincoln, Nebraska.
Welcome.
Lincoln, Nebraska. Cornhuskers, yes. It sounds like there's another story there somewhere. Yeah. And they may win the prize for being here from the farthest distance away. More guests.
And I'm Lila Anna Sauls, and I'm just from across town.
And you are?
I'm Graham Sauls, and I'm across town too.
Welcome. Thank you.
Two very cross people. I mean, cross town people. Did I miss anybody?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
When we are farther along in our recovery, we will take time to greet each other. And I will tell you that you are all welcome to stay and continue your conversations and enjoy at the time in the future refreshments in the social hall. But until then, just look forward to it. Today's chalice lighter is Bill Dolly.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Bill Dolly, and I am your sexton. I've held this position since Labor Day weekend of 2016, because at the time, the job was titled custodian. About a year and a half ago, Shannon Edwards suggested that we change it to sexton, feeling it's more appropriate for a church setting, and frankly, I do more than just custodial work here. So I liked the idea. The board liked the idea, and they approved the change. And shortly after that, my friend Mark Drews came to me and said, "It's official, you're now a sexton." And he also said there's a 25% pay increase that comes with this. And I thought, we should have done this a lot sooner. So the very next Sunday in the order of service, on the back page there it was, Bill Dolly, sexton. As far as the 25% pay increase, I'm pretty sure Mark was kidding when he said that. Bonnie and I moved here from the great state of Maine in September of 2012. And she started coming to service right away. I didn't. I was working at Hammond School 5 days a week, and I really looked forward to my weekends. And you have to understand that at the time, Bonnie and I both belonged to the Church of I Don't Know. I was a recovering Catholic. She was a recovering Northern Baptist. And neither one of us knew what we were looking for spiritually, if, in fact, anything at all. But I finally accepted her invitation, and I came to service for the first time on December 16th, 2012. Now, before you think, well, this guy's got a great memory, don't go there. I don't know what I had for lunch yesterday. But I do remember events and how they affected me and where I was when it happened. Because you see, my first attendance at service on the 16th was 2 days following the Sandy Hook Elementary School massacre. Bonnie and I came to service, and we sat right about here, and Reverend Neil Jones stood right about there, and for 30 minutes he went off on gun violence in this country, and I was mesmerized. I knew right then that this is where I want to be. I meant it then, I mean it now. I am humbled and honored to be a member of this congregation. Thanks.
Spirit of light and life, come unto us. Now, Richard McLeod is our guest speaker today, and he's been a member of the UUCC since 2013. He was born in downtown Columbia, raised a Baptist and a Seventh-day Adventist, but gave up organized religion about halfway through college in Tennessee. His doctoral degree from the USC is in education, specifically curriculum and instruction. His career as an educator was mostly spent as a public school principal, working in middle school, high school, and adult education. He retired in 2004, and in his retirement enjoys spending time with his children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. His hobbies are studying family genealogy, making home movies, performing as a keyboard musician, and traveling the world with his wife, Linda, who enjoys it as much as he does. Richard.
Thank you, John. And I saw Linda smile at the introduction. That means she agrees with it. That's a good thing. The thing that she enjoys traveling, because we're getting ready to go again after being pretty much sequestered for the last couple of years. I'm going to do a story for all ages. We used to call it just children's story, but now we call it story for all ages, hoping that the adults will get something out of it too. But who do I have in the audience that are children? Yeah, besides you, Morgan. No, are they children here? We've got a few. All right. Yeah. Okay. Anyhow, the point about, and I'll just kind of wander around here and I'll talk to you too. What we're talking about mainly today is something called the Golden Rule. And I'll be talking about it with regards to bumper sticker technology and about the Christmas season where we all try to treat each other well. The Golden Rule goes something like this. Do unto other people what you would want them to do unto you. Now, I was hoping I'd have more children here today so I could say, what happened to you? Why was this important to you? How do you take something from this? When somebody bullies you on the playground, what do you do to them? When somebody calls your names, what do you do to them? And I hate to only call on you because you're the only child in my sight here. Because sometimes you have kids that don't treat you very well. Does that happen to you sometimes? Yeah. And what do you think about, you can talk to this if you want to, but you don't want to. Okay. I'll talk for you so I can say anything that you want to say. When somebody does bad to you, what do you think about? Like, what are you going to do back to them? Or do you do anything back to them? You don't want to do anything back to them. You just want them to not do it anymore, or if it's something real bad, you tell grown-ups, don't you? Yeah. But the point about the golden rule is whatever people do, you shouldn't retaliate, right? Like if somebody hits you, should you hit them back? No. Try to make friends with, and that becomes the challenge, right? That's what grown-ups do. Excuse me, what grown-ups are supposed to do is when somebody hits you, you make a challenge out of it. Like, you shouldn't have done that, or don't do that again, or, not something like, I'm going to kill you for hitting me. It's more like, let's be friends and move on from that. So anyhow, that's it. Adults. Now, adults, what do you do when somebody irritates you? Like, if somebody cuts you off in traffic, what do you do? Anybody? Pat, what do you do if somebody cuts you off in traffic?
Murder.
You murder them?
No, murder.
Oh, okay. Anybody else want to answer that? What do you do in traffic when somebody cuts you off? Anyhow, the point is, what do you do, Laura?
I complain to my husband.
You complain to your husband, who is driving with you, I suppose. Or if he's driving, you complain because he didn't react. Yeah, okay. Anyhow, that's the point about the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And we'll elucidate on that a little bit more today. Thank you.
This is a time of our service where we have candles of the community. So if you have a significant personal joy, sorrow, or concern you would like to have shared from this pulpit, please phone or email Andrea Duddick, our administrator, by noon Friday. If you would like to speak for yourself before the service begins, pick up one of the candles in the basket in the foyer at the entry table and come forward to speak briefly when requested. For those of you on streaming, if you'd like to have a candle lit, please text or email Andrea, our administrator, to have it read during the service. Now, we do have submissions, one submission in particular, and I'm going to light this candle. Nina Gray asked us to light a candle for her brother, Bob Gray, who has been diagnosed with congestive heart failure. He is resting comfortably, but with very low energy at their independent living apartment in Grinnell, Iowa. He is awaiting a pacemaker procedure on December 10th. And also for her sister-in-law, Mary Gray, who has 6 to 8 weeks more of rehab in their retirement wellness center after breaking her hip in a fall. Nina asks that you please hold them in your hearts, your thoughts, and in your prayers. Now, I have a personal candle to light this morning for the family of Dean Cook, musician, singer, songwriter, and friend. He passed away on Friday. May his family, may they find strength during this time of remorse and prayers for his family. Now, those of you that have picked up a candle from the front, if you'd like to come forward, stand and come forward right now.
Good morning. First, this has two meanings. Dean Cook and Joanne are friends of ours, and I like this for them as well. And as for Nick, Um, I have to use my phone because I can't remember all these words. He just got off his chemotherapy a few nights ago. We haven't seen the doctor, so we don't know if he's in remission yet. But the dentist, we have to actually go to oral surgeon to check this. He's been running a temperature, and he has an infection in his mouth, which is called necrotizing osteomyelitis. From my understanding, it's basically where bone builds up on bone, and it's immune-compromised individuals that it hurts the most. It's actually one thing that took my mom years ago, should I say. But we're hopeful. Thanks for the cards and everything everyone sends. He really appreciates it, and I do as well. We are going this week to MUSC for another test, and hopefully he feels well enough to do it, to find out about the transplant again that he was denied a year ago. Also, I hope they could help with this, I can't even pronounce the word again, my osteomyelitis in his mouth. It's basically where an immune-compromised person is so sick from no immunity. That example in his mouth, bone is building up on bone, and the gums are going away on one side of his mouth. And the antibiotics aren't working, so they have to, from my understanding, scrape away the bone so the antibiotics will work. But that being said, after MUSC, hopefully all this will work out. And we'll be going to Angel Oak this Wednesday, which is on his bucket list. And then back home. Thank you.
We light one final candle for those joys and concerns that remain silent in our hearts.
This morning's musical meditation is an African American hymn called There Is More Love Somewhere. There is more love somewhere. There is more love somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more love somewhere. There is more hope somewhere. There is more hope somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more hope somewhere. There is more peace somewhere. There is more peace somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more peace somewhere. There is more joy somewhere. joy somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more joy somewhere.
Thank you, Anna. Now, this is a time where we share our abundance. This month's Share the Plate recipient is Homeless No More, and we have Lila Anna Sauls here to talk to the work of Homeless No More Family Shelter.
Okay, well, first of all, I was going to let Graham reintroduce me. There's a way I tell telemarketers in my house. It's Lila Anna.
My bad.
It's okay.
Lila.
I blame my grandmother. I was the 7th generation of the oldest girl being named Lila, and then I went and had 5 boys. So this is not Lila. Anyway, and I want to tell you, so my mama told me that I could go and do anything in this world as long as I took my boys with me, and that way they and my husband would not hate me. So I woke up this morning and I went, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, and Graham is with me this morning. So anyway, and I also picked up on the fact, oh, by the way, I am a kind of sort of recovering Catholic who was raised by an ex-mother superior who left the church to marry a divorced Presbyterian. So go figure where I ended on the spectrum. So I'm sitting there going, so do I spend this time using snark, you dirty, filthy animal, or do I spend it on the golden rule? And here's what I can tell you. I have been at St. Lawrence Place Family Shelter and Homeless No More for 17 years. I have 5 boys ranging in age from 9-year-old twins to a 20-year-old at Carolina, and they were raised in these shelters with me. And, you know, all I can tell you is the hundreds of children and families that we serve every year, we meet them where we feel they are. I would like to think we do it with respect. I would like to think that we do it without judgment. I would like to think that we become their safety net that they don't have, whether it is because they have made really bad decisions or because the systems in place just are always going to be against them. But it works. Right now, 94% of our families at St. Lawrence Place go on to housing. Right now, 64% of our families at Family Shelter go on to housing, and the national average is 50, for the record. So for an emergency shelter, our families at Family Shelter are succeeding. And at Family Shelter, we stabilize and we give them basic needs. It is food, shelter, and clothing. There is such a need at Family Shelter right now that in less than 10 days, we are starting a motel program where we will take families immediately off the street and out of cars and put them temporarily into motels so we can use that time to worry about the paperwork, because we're spending a lot of the time where we could be doing case management, tracking down copies of IDs and making sure the kids are in schools. So my team did what they did when we decided to do affordable housing. They did the same thing, and we said we need a baby step up here. So we're going to do that in 10 days. Y'all have been a part of our village for decades. You've been with us on this journey, just like Larry, Mo, and Curly have been on this journey with me. So we come every year to kind of give you an update, but we come every year to thank you. So thank you for sharing your abundance, but thank you also for also doing it without judgment. towards our families, towards us. But I always end by saying, come see us. I just finished my PhD because, thank you. For the record, and I promise I will keep it brief, but I'm a talker. This is why they never send me to do these things. I went back to school to get my PhD because I'm data-driven. Everything we do at Homeless No More is based on needs. So I am big on what is the data, what are the outcomes, what's the assessment. We're always assessing. So everything we do, if you ask, we have numbers, we have outcomes. But here's how I end. Come see us. Come take a tour. Come see the shelters. Come visit. Come be a part of what you are already a part of, but come be a part of it in real time. We're not just here during the holidays, even though we always love getting a donation. We love the time, talent, treasure, all of it. But thank you for sharing your abundance and sharing your love.
Thank you, Lila. Anna. Well, thank you for my consistency. If I don't malaprop one person during the time I'm up here, then I break my record. So I'm being consistent. So thank you very much. All right. So this congregation contributes to Share the Plate, where half of our cash collection each Sunday goes to a local charity, a way for us to give back to the community we live in. If contributing by check, please write Share the Plate on the memo line, and you may also make an online contribution. Those of you on streaming may certainly contribute. You will find the link on the UUCC website, uucolumbia.org. Now, will our ushers please come forward to collect the offering today?
Our offertory music is What the World Needs Now is Love by Hal David and Burt Bacharach.
We receive these gifts with gratitude and appreciation as it demonstrates that we are truly a giving community.
Thank you, John, and thank you for the gifts, the offerings today. By the way, I want to tell you that if you were watching your order of service and in the first part it said opening words, and you thought, he didn't do the opening words. Well, Anna is going to do my opening words in song at the end, and I'm going to read you something else. So it'll be there. It'll just be opening and closing words and opening music. Anyhow, we'll do that. So, good morning, everybody. Good morning. Oh, good. Enthusiastic group. Don, are there any of the ushers who are appointed to make sure people stay awake? No? Okay, well, that means there's a lot more pressure on me. Anyhow, moving on. Let me first offer a disclaimer, or you can call it an explanation or maybe a precursive apology. My presentations today will be quite eclectic, and so your understanding, your emotions, your focus may be moved from one thing to another as I move along through here. Anyhow, let me start again. We live in a rather bewildering world, and that seems to be more so than it ever was, even now. In this bewildering world, it's always been very difficult for us to discern the difference between fact and fiction, between facts and alternative facts, or even between different versions of the same truth. As rational, sentient beings, we constantly seek direction about how to live our lives. We analyze, we philosophize, we interpret, we argue. We fear being too objective or too subjective. We align ourselves with religions or political parties for one reason or another, sometimes unbeknown to ourselves. We're never quite sure whether our sense of how to live our lives or how we should treat each other, how that needs to happen. And in seeking that guidance, we find that the things that inspire us, that direct us, that ground us, that inspire us, that define us, are sometimes found in unexpected places. Not long ago, Linda and I were coincidentally parked behind Bud's and Chuck's white van. And I want to remind you, Bud and Chuck are husband and wife, members of our congregation, who have kind of a cross-generational view of how the world works. So moving on, we were out there, coincidentally parked behind their van on the Woodward Street side over here. And I couldn't help but to notice the bumper stickers they had plastered all over the back of their white van. Now, they weren't obstructing the windows, of course. I got to give them that. And as I looked at these stickers, as I read them, I was struck that so many of them had an application to the way I should lead my life, the way I should treat people. They were profound, they were sometimes humorous, but they were usually refreshingly simple. Many of them operationalized Unitarian Universalist principles about how we should live on planet Earth and about how we should treat each other and members of the human race. The message from these stickers tugged at my heart and made me mindful of my own obligations. Now, I should admit here that, because you've seen a lot of them yourself, not all bumper stickers are so uplifting. Some of them you see in places that kind of threaten democratic norms or even suggest negative opinions or prejudices. And some are a little scary when they remind us that climate change is inevitable or that nuclear war with rogue nations hangs over us. And sometimes they almost get you in traffic accidents because you say, wow, that's a cool bumper sticker, let me get close enough to read it. So I hope you've never had an accident in that case. Anyhow, we think about these kind of things, about living your life and treating other people, perhaps more at the holiday season when the phrase peace, goodwill toward men is everywhere. It's on church signs, it's on television programs, it's on big billboards, and you hear it in stories and song. They distract you as you drive, but they're there. Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, they all have similar messages during this time. My memory dwells on the early years of my enlightenment when I was transitioning from my Christian upbringing. And I often think, what did I learn from the experiences of my Christian upbringing that I can apply to where I am now, to where I lead my life, and who I am and what I'm going to do moving forward. And I easily decided on the golden rule. In my studies of different religions, I learned that most of these religions had the same rule. Now, the Christian golden rule, as I learned as a toddler at Eau Claire Baptist Church, was from the King James Version in the Gospel of Matthew, and it says, "Whatsoever ye would that men should do to you, do you even so to them." I still have that very accurately memorized. And the common paraphrase of that is do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Not do unto others as they do unto you, which is probably one of the earliest thoughts I had. As an excuse, hey, I can do that. Well, no, you can't do that. But as you would have them. Anyhow, further in my studies, I read a Buddhist text, Jessica, that said, treat not others in ways that you yourself would find hurtful. And I read that the Baha'i faith says, lay not on any soul a load that you would not wish to be laid upon you, and desire not for anyone the things you would not desire for yourself. Same thing, right? Just in more words. From Confucianism, do not do to others what you do not want done to yourself. From Hinduism, do not do to others what would cause pain if done to you. From Islam, not one of you truly believes until you wish for others what you wish for yourself. From Judaism, now I like this, so I'm going to read this whole thing as a quote and then maybe say another word about it, but this is from Judaism. What is hateful to you, do not do to your neighbor. This is the whole Torah, all the rest is commentary. In other words, follow the golden rule, and everything else is just an expansion on that rule. Now, just as an aside, or maybe a little expansion on this, I found something in a new translation of the Christian Bible. The translations come out all the time, right? But anyhow, this particular translation was called The Message, and I'm really not familiar with it. And this is from Matthew 22. Jesus said, love the Lord your God with all passion and prayer and intelligence. This is the most important, the first on any list. But there is a second to set alongside it. Love others as well as you love yourself. These two commands are pegs. Everything in God's law and the prophets hangs from them. So much of that commentary about the golden rule I found on the bumper stickers on the back of Bud's and Chuck's van. Now, I guess, is it still parked out here on Woodrow Street, Chuck, Bud? So go out and have a look if you like. Not now, JP, just wait till later. So be patient. Anyhow, I want to imagine what conversations have been started by these words of wisdom that you find there. As I read through some of these, I'm going to do air quotes. I'm going to do this so you'll know which are the bumper stickers and which are just my own commentaries. So you got to watch. Stay awake and watch. Keep an eye on them, Don. So as I do this, that means I'm quoting something. I did these in 4 categories, and the first category being life in America. These are quips and quotes about us as citizens of the United States, and some more pointed than others. First one, support your local farmer. Well, we do that. Remember that? We do that every summer. We have a farmer come out here. We do that as a church in the summer. In science, we trust. I think we do that more than most other church congregations. We listen to the NAS, the NSF, the CDC, and other relevant initials. And here's one that's a little larger commentary. What would Jesus do? Probably pay attention to the road and not drive like a jerk. Strike home to anybody? Peace is possible. world peace, domestic peace, and there's been a little too much of that lately. Now, the next one, I love this one, and it's what I would love for the red MAGA hats. You know, you see those a lot. It's what I really wish the MAGA would stand for. Make America grateful again. That's a great Thanksgiving and Christmas sentiment. And here's one that may sound familiar. When freedom is outlawed, only outlaws will have freedom. Yeah, and that's kind of like what goes along with the guns are outlawed, outlaws will have guns. Well, same idea. That's the NRA argument, I suppose. Coexist, that one we've all seen. You see that on a lot of bumpers. And it says, it says it all. All nations, all races, all gender preferences, all life forms for that matter. We're all in this together. That's the first UU principle and the seventh UU principle. We are all in this together. Go in peace, believe in peace, create peace. No further explanation necessary. Now here's one that's a little humorous and may take you a beat to pick up on, but you've probably heard it before. It's a little more specific to modern technology, and this supposedly came from Abraham Lincoln. Not all quotes on the internet are real. You need to explain that to anybody? You all got that okay? Teach your children well. That's like the song from South Pacific. We've got to be carefully taught. This may even refer to them wearing masks to keep other people safe. That's part of the golden rule again. Do unto others. You want to keep them safe like you would like to have them keep you safe. So get vaccinated. Wear your masks. No human is illegal. That's a powerful statement that goes to immigration attitudes in this country that we seem to address an awful lot. Climate change is real. President Biden recently confirmed that at the latest G20 conference. And he said that the United States believes that. So anyhow, that's the first category. I said 4 categories. That's the first one. Second category, managing your prejudices. There seems to be an increasing number of expressed prejudices that need to be managed in this country. So watch my fingers for air quotes again. God is love. Now that was printed on the outline of the Christian fish, you know, the ichthus, and it was in rainbow colors. So I expanded that to mean that whoever your God is, he should be a God of love, or maybe let love be your God, a God who would accept every individual's preferences. Equality includes everyone. Everyone may not be created equal, but they do deserve equal recognition and equal opportunity. Born straight, refuse to hate. It's kind of like, not my fault I was born straight, but I still don't hate anybody else who has different ideas. Straight, but not narrow. Sexually straight, but not narrow-minded. Kind of similar idea. You've seen this one too. We are one. And that statement is over a picture of the planet, right? And it refers to all interdependent life forms. That's the seventh UU principle, the web of life. The world's fatalists are convinced that time is running out in so many respects. For our tendency of a world that we are despoiling at an unsustainable rate. For the survival of our species, indeed all species, in the face of nuclear proliferation, and with the threat now that is newly in our faces, biological vulnerability. Another COVID or worse, something that we couldn't recover from. New variant out there, right? Been watching that for the last few days. Jesus didn't teach me to hate gay people. Imagine that there were 15 commandments that Moses brought down from the cloud, by the way. And as he came down, and this is from a Mel Brooks movie, as he came down, he dropped one of the tablets. And one of those commandments on that tablet might have been, thou shalt not hate gay people. And if the Beatitudes in the New Testament had continued, one of them might have said, blessed are gay people, for they are just as loved as straight folks. Again, this is adjusting your attitudes. Next. If you hate anyone because of your faith, you're doing it wrong. Don't you like that? Yeah, you're doing it wrong. Because that kind of hate denies and defies the golden rule. Black Lives Matter, been around for a while. That sign still hangs on this wall outside. We believe it, we support it. Be careful who you hate. It might be someone you love. Let me say that again. Be careful who you hate. It might be someone you love. Kind of gets you in more ways than you might think. Refuses to play nice with bigots and racists. That's like, if you're going to be a bigot or a racist, I'm going to take my ball and go home. Okay? So do that. Anyhow, that's the second category of bumper stickers about managing your prejudices. Category number next, third, straightening your attitudes. Now this part has more to do with than just prejudices like I just did. It's like stuff in the way you live your life, and it's in the way you regard other people. A closed mind is a wonderful thing to lose, right? Now it goes along with that, a mind is a terrible thing to waste, right? You've heard that. But a closed mind is a wonderful thing to lose. I love that. Non-judgment day is near. Well, isn't it about time? It's here, folks. Remember your humanity. We sometimes forget that in the middle of our narcissism, our own selfishness. We are not human beings having a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. We are spiritual beings. We are connected with each other and with unknown parts of the universe. Remember, the main thing that we have in common is that we are all different from each other. Human experience, spiritual beings. Think about that. Another very heavy, profound. Karma spares no one. There's a little poem called Little Orphaned Annie. It's a poem that my wife Linda often performs, actually. And the line in it says, the goblins will get you if you don't watch out. What that means is your own goblins will come back to haunt you. That's what karma is. So, beware. Why fit in when you were born to stand out? Good one. That was from Dr. Seuss, by the way. Not sure which book, but he said that. Born to stand out. Anyhow, that's the third category. Fourth category. Yeah, fourth. Compassion and understanding. Now, these could have been included under the last category, but they're a little more soft and fuzzy, so I set them out separately. Be kind whenever possible. And it is always possible. You want to argue with that? Do small things with great love. Put a little love in your heart. We don't have to believe in anything to be kind to one another. We can be any religious, political, or social bent, but we can still be kind. Love is not give and take. Love is give. Love is not give and take. Love is give. Try it. Love rules. Simple statement goes along with the last few quotes. Believe in love, believe in peace. So peace is the outcome of the last few quotes about the outcomes of love. Now, Bud and Chuck tells me that actually since I saw this, there have been some more added, right? So if you want to go look out at their van afterwards, you'll see what more there could be. And I didn't refresh to do those. But there's a few more that just don't go in any of these categories. There's one that simply says, meow. And that's all the sticker said. Probably has something to do with the personality of cats. So I don't know what that means. The hippies were right. Now that sounds like material from... Okay. That sounds like something that would be fodder for a whole series of books about the 60s. But hippies were right. Well, and again about hippies, another one. There is a little hippie in all of us. And I heard, did I hear some amens about that? Amen. Okay. I suppose that's really true, depending on what the hippies were right about in the last quote. But what we dwell about that era, about the hippies, is that they were all about peace and love. Put your fingers up. Peace and love, right? Thank you, Bud and Chuck. I titled this talk, The Gospel. I originally titled it, before I changed it a little bit, I originally titled it, The Gospel According to Bud and Chuck. Because I learned early on that the word gospel means good news. And I thought that the good news is that if you want simple guidance about how life should be led and people should be treated, here are some easy to follow, easy to remember guidelines, pieces of a golden rule. Live long and prosper, go in love, go in peace. Amen.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for. I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will be as one. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger. In all of humankind, imagine all the people sharing all the world. You may say that I'm a dreamer, but I know I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will live as one.
Thank you, Anna. John and Yoko would have been proud to hear the way you did that. Nice. That was written in early 1971, which was a strange time in John Lennon's career. He had just bought a new piano, spray painted it white for his wife's birthday, and soon afterwards he wrote this piece. Lyrics heavily inspired by his wife, Yoko. But for my closing words, I'm going to read another set of lyrics. You know, often we hear songs and we hear lyrics and we say, wow, those are cool lyrics. But we don't think of lyric writers often as poets. But they are. I mean, poems are just, you can set them to music and it becomes a song. So this particular poem, I'm going to just read the lyrics of it. It's called Everyday People. And it was written by Sylvester Stewart of the singing group Sly and the Family Stones. And I'm not going to sing it, no, so I'll just read this. Sometimes I'm right and I can be wrong. My own beliefs are in my song. The butcher, the baker, the drummer, and then makes no difference what group I'm in. I am everyday people. There is a blue one who can't accept the green one for living with a fat one trying to be a skinny one. We got to live together. I am no better and neither are you. We're all the same, whatever you do. You love me, you hate me, you know me, and then you can't figure out the bag I'm in. I am everyday people. There is a long hair who doesn't like the short hair for being such a rich one that will not help the poor one. We got to live together. There is a yellow one that won't accept the black one, that won't accept the red one, that won't accept the white one. Different strokes for different folks. And so on, Scooby-Doo. I am everyday people. Sly and the Family Stone. Yeah.
Now we extinguish this chalice at the end of our time here today. May its flame glow gently in our hearts and light our paths as we leave this place until we are together again.
May the blessings of truth be upon us. May the power of love direct us. And may the peace of this community sustain us till we meet again.
This concludes our service. You are welcome to stay and visit outside and unmask at your option on the patio through the double doors off the social hall. Now, thank you all for joining us for our service today. And for those of you here in this sanctuary and those of you watching on YouTube streaming, we'll see you next week right here. Thank you.